Pick 'em pop, big gun Brian Petrie, giving out the lock. One is mortal, you know it won't miss. Gonna take a shot, dog lock, that's the underdog. Yeah, they in the hunt. Send them home, that's KO or submission. Yeah, somebody done. Slime ball, yeah, that's the parlay. We gon' make it known. Pick 'em pod from MMA tapes. Yeah, let's get it going.
Yeah. Woo, baby. What's up with the MMA? This is what? Bad intro. Restart. Hey, welcome to the MMA Takes podcast. What's up with the what's up? Listen, this is a fun card we got here. Abu Dhabi, Corey Sandhagen versus cousin Umar. Some great stuff. We broke this down the Anakin Florian. We did. What did we do? So many fights on there, but it was a really fun card. Kenny was sick. I was kind of locked in. I had the lead over Kenny right now. You probably already know that, but I'm just excited about it. We're here on a Thursday. Was going to do it live. Decided to do a pre-recording. Here's the thing. I was going to pre-record it because I wanted to do my little editing and have my graphics. I found out today that the editing software package thing I use expired, right? I paid for like 6 months or whatever like that. It has since expired. It didn't renew. So I can renew that. So listen, sound off in the chat. Do you like the graphics? I can bring them back. It's not that expensive. I just figured instead of doing that, I'd hop on, give you the raw, real, give you these picks because this card deserves to be pushed out on a Thursday as opposed to a Friday or whatever the fuck. So we got some cleaning up to do. Before we get into the fights, again, I'll put timestamps on it for all those people. Talking about the fights. Talking about fights. Timestamps will be on there. If you hear my voice, I had just woken up from a nap. I slept way too long. My beautiful wife cut my hair. It's a disaster because I slept on it like an idiot. So I got the sleepy voice. I got the sleepy bedhead. Please don't look at my face. I apologize. But last week, I'm not going to apologize for. It was Timbo, Christian, and I. We did it live. All the beautiful people that showed up. You're wonderful. I won again. I'm having a good year against the boys. Timbo was trailing the entire time. Very, very close. Picked a good card. Christian came in second because he had the Bilal Muhammad pick. Timbo did pick Leon Edwards. But I went 3 for 3 on my locks. Bilal Muhammad dog lock. Bully season. I had Send Him Home. Sam Patterson was also my green hammer. We'll get to that in a second. Easy peasy. And then my mortal lock, Arnold Allen, which he didn't make it as easy as I want, but he won he won strongly. Camera's out of focus. What are we doing? Camera, find the face. It's the fattest on the screen. There we go. It doesn't like when I look down. And then Slime Ball Parlay wasn't the biggest in the world in Green Hammer, which wasn't the biggest in the world. Catch. So we did good. We did good last week. I was going to do a full recap. I tweeted out I was going to do a recap. The reason I didn't is I got the rundown from the Anakin Florian on Sunday when I was going to do it. And I'm like, man, they do a live show on Monday. And they had Sandhagen. They were going to have Bilal on. They had Ray Longo, obviously. And I'm like, I can't. Those boys know how to do a recap show. John Ennis, cage side. You got Kenny. You got Ray. You were going to have Bilal. You have Corey Sandhagen in Abu Dhabi. I'm like, I'm not gonna put out my show and try to compete with them when those boys are doing it right. So I mean, there's no better recap show in the business. There's no better podcast in the business than Anakin Florian. So I decided not to and just stick with the picks for this week. But I do want to talk about. I'm not going through the whole card, but Bilal Muhammad, who is a friend. I wouldn't say close friend, but we have exchanged pleasantries. We have met. We have texted before. We talked. We've had 2 separate conversations about a well-known media member. I'm not gonna say his name, but I think everyone knows what I'm talking about. And just a first-class dude. I met him in Nashville. Super nice guy. And just the improvements he made too. I mean, it was crazy. I know a lot of people did pick Bilal. He wasn't like this crazy underdog that, he was an underdog, and people dislike him. But he surprised a lot of people, I thought, especially me. I picked him to win. I didn't think he was going to dominate the way he did. And that's just a testament to how good he's got. A lot of people thought, the first round or the first fight is what's going to dictate this fight. Bilal has worked so much on his hands, his pressure, his cardio, that I knew that wasn't going to be the first fight because Bilal just stayed at distance in that first fight. And I knew he wasn't going to give Leon any room. And I will go out on a limb. I said it years ago, a year ago at least, on the Anakin Florian. I said Bilal Muhammad is the best cardio in the welterweight division. Everyone's like, what about Colby Covington? I still stand by it. I think he has better cardio than Colby Covington. Colby Covington stinks. Win a fight, dude, right? You know what I mean? And then also, I think Bilal, I will stand by this comment. I think Bilal has the best finishing ability on takedowns. Not, well, I had you in the first half there. I think he can finish the takedown better than anybody in that division. He's not the fastest guy. He is strong, but he might not be the strongest guy. But his technique when he gets on a leg or legs to finish a takedown is bar none the best at 170 pounds. It is very, very good. That's the Khabib work. He looked amazing. I didn't think it would be that easy, and he made it look very, very easy. So shout out to Bilal Muhammad, new king of the welterweights. And I love what he did post-fight. He said, I want to be an active champion. I want to fight the Shavkats. He's naming all the people that Leon never, listen, Leon would have fought anybody. I'm not saying Leon ducked anybody, but he's like, instead of going out there and going, I want the Conor McGregor fight, or I want to fight Nate Diaz or Jake Paul in boxing or something stupid like that, like some of these guys do. He went out there and was like, no, there's a ton of dudes at 170 that I'll fight. I'm the champion. I want to be active. I fucking love that. I love that he did that. The only thing I hope, UFC, if you listen, if you watch, the MMA gods, if you're shining down on me right now, do not let Colby Covington get a title shot. He's got to win at least 2 fucking fights. Do not let that little baby back bitch, that little whiner, the guy who sues people for getting slapped after talking shit about someone's kids, do not let that motherfucker get a title shot until he wins. Win a fight, win 2 fights, then maybe we'll give, but you got to win a fight, bro. It's pathetic. Your performance against Leon was pathetic. I rarely talk shit about fighters. That guy's a scumbag. Fuck him. But I got worked up. Cop mouth came up. 2 little final things before we move on. I maybe shouldn't. No. Okay, well, I'll end with what I was just about to say. So the year of health is going well for the couple months of health, right? Sleep apnea test. I got the ear taken care of. Wife made me an eye doctor appointment. I've been the eye doctor like 10 plus years. I have 20/10, boys, up close vision. When I'm looking at something up close, but far away, it's a disaster. So your boy got some glasses. Your boy got some fucking glasses, right? And the thing about, look at this. Woo! Who was that? Is that a fucking more handsome Bill Nye? Bill Nye doesn't have glasses, does he? I can see so much better with these at distance. The only problem with glasses, and I don't know if you're a glasses wearer out there, if you're a partial time glasses wearer, is this messes up my depth perception and it makes me a little dizzy. And I asked the guy, I said, why does it do that? And the guy goes, well, you have astigmatism and your brain is so used to making the adjustments for your eyes that when you don't need to do that with your eyes, it takes a while for your brain to get used to. Because I looked online, like, oh, wear glasses for a couple of hours. The last pair of glasses I had, I wore for fucking like a day straight. It about threw up every 5 minutes. It's making me so dizzy. But these bad pajamas, I'll let you screenshot. Hey, I'll give you a couple poses. All right. Sorry for the dead air. I was giving you a couple poses. We're going to take them off for the pod. But I want to give you a little looksy-do on glasses that might be reappearing. I might need to start really trying to break them in because my vision, long vision is bad. Anyway, last thing for the pod. I hate to say it. I hate to do it. Not really. It's not really a bit, but kind of a bit. Maybe it's a bit. I don't know. Listen, I love my guys, Timbo and Christian. We have such a fun time doing the podcast. Why can't I get this mic raised a little bit? I keep feeling like I'm hunched over. Here we go. We have such a fun time doing a podcast. I got to do it with them last week. I got a complaint, and I'm filing the complaint right now. I'm the CEO of MMA Takes Podcast. I kind of run this ship here, right? So here's my complaint, and I haven't brought this up with Christian yet, right? So Timbo is a busy. They're both busy guys, right? Right, and I love them to death. I truly do. Timbo has a child. has obviously a full-time job murdering people across the United States, maybe the world. Don't know. Haven't got out of him yet. Has some planning a wedding, by the way, and then has a little bit of a family thing. So this guy, every fight night, every card that he gets to do with us, he's locked the fuck in, right? He might not be as locked in when breaking down like some of the undercards as maybe he used to be, because he's got a lot of stuff going on. Like, he didn't know who Jake Hadley was, and he was mad at me for not telling him. Things like that might slip through the cracks, and that is completely fine because of how busy that guy is, right? But every single fight night, every single pay-per-view, he's there. Fight one, he's firing shekels. And when he's on the pod, when he has room for the pod, he fucking brings it. Christian, a guy that I absolutely adore. I love this guy, right? I'm going to steal something that John Anik always says. If I ever got remarried, or if my wife and I redid our vows, or whatever the fuck happens, right? And I needed groomsmen, Christian will get the call for sure. Like, I love the guy. But this is a guy who's slipping a little bit, right? He is he is a casual. I know that's a hard word for people to hear. When I drop the C word, people cover their ears. You know, it's like I said, the word cunt, right? He's becoming a casual, or is a casual fan. Doesn't watch the fights, right? The guy's trying to become a professional softballer. He does have something going on in his life that is a possible change that I'm incredibly proud of him for. And maybe if that's a distraction, to, disregard what I say, but he's been distracted, right? He's been distracted, and he's not bringing his A game, right? He's calling shitty fights. He doesn't watch the fights. He's not firing shekels out there. This guy's better than everything. And I think the CEO, the captain of the ship, I got to suspend him for a pay-per-view. I have to suspend him. And that's what it is. And unfortunately, Timbo's going to have to sit too, because next pay-per-view, August 15th, there'll be the pay-per-view week of UFC 305, Izzy versus Duplessis. August 15th, live, we'll be doing a live show with Evan Longoria for the pay-per-view entire card. We did one before, but we recorded it, tried to get out the kinks and get some chemistry. We had all that. So we're doing a live show. I'll remind everyone that when next week and the weeks leading up, we got 2 weeks to go, but August 15th, Evan Longoria will be live with me on the show. Christian will be sitting out a one pay-per-view penalty for being a casual, and Timbo, unfortunately, is just collateral damage in that. And also, he's probably got 1 million people on his list to kill. It's that time of the year. Yeah. All right. Let's get to these fights. First fight is a banger, boys. Seguis Dumas versus Dennis Tullian. Seguis Dumas. Dumas minus 230, Tullian plus 190. These guys stink. I literally wrote down in my notes. Oh, fuck. All right, let me do this fight. I got one other thing to talk about. The only fucking thing I want to talk about, and I completely didn't do it because I was talking about Christian. Anyway, Dennis Tullian 1-4 in the UFC. I mean, for fuck's sake, his only wins over Jamie Pickett, knocked Jamie Pickett out in the second round, and has just been finished in every other single fight. He's fought some tough guys. It's not like he's fighting scrubs. He's fighting some tough dudes, but I mean, come on. And Dumas is, come from the Contender Series, look on the Contender Series, lost to Josh Frem, got a Cody Brundage and Abu Azatar, both decision wins. Boy learned some wrestling, but did not look great in any of those fights. And then Nusultan with the weird headbutt knockout. Don't know really what's going on with that. And Dumas is a guy, he's favored here. He's got a lot of excuses. If you ever see clips of him on podcasts, I don't think he does his own, but he'll be on other people's podcasts. He'll do some things. I was injured. He's got some stuff outside there with his lady, with the cop. We saw the video. There's an excuse for everything with this guy. I don't know if he's working. I don't know if he's grinding. I don't know if he's what he's doing. Tullian's a guy who had some success outside the UFC, had a pretty good record outside the UFC. That's why he got the call in. Had some experience, but I just don't think he's good. I don't think either of these guys are good. I'm going to go Dumas because of physically, I like him better. He's tall. He's lanky. He can grapple now. He's actually fixed that part of his game. He is awkward on the feet enough that I think he can mix up and split up Tullian's offense a little bit and confuse him up to this point. I'm not playing him at minus 230. I don't know how I'm going to play him if I play him. I like to play fights. I want to throw some shekels out there, but I don't know if I'm going to do it. We're going to wait till No, we're going to go into what I'm going to talk about now. Sorry for another break. So a guy called me out on my YouTube channel, and I wanted to address it because it's a really good comment. It made me kind of open my eyes a little bit on certain things. And this is a comment that I like. It's not a troll. It's not a guy just openly saying you suck or whatever. It's a disagreement, which I love. I love having debates and everything like that. So famous actor _Al Pacino is what it looks like his handle is, right? He commented, the Green Hammer stinks. -120 on a 7-way prop. And I commented, of course, after, I always save these little comments in my head until after they cash. I said, well, that Green Hammer cashes. He said that wasn't a point, bro. It's a -120 prop bet. Not really the kind of professional insight I'm looking for listening to the show. Anybody that can read betting lines could see the sub by Patterson was how the books thought it would go. I can only speak for myself, but I listened to your show to try to confirm my thoughts on money bets, or to get convinced by you and you guys to take one I hadn't considered. I can find 1,000 shows telling me to take stuff like a -120 bet. I responded, no, and then he goes, I'm not trying to sit on you either. I was being critical because I like your show, and I was just hoping for something a little more wild for your prop bet on a pay-per-view card. It's all love either way, right? So I comment, I said, I've never said I was a professional, and I'm not a professional. Those are the words you've never heard me say on the show. The Green Hammer is a multi-unit prop bet. I can't put multi-units on an plus 800 line. I don't do lottery ticket plays, and if I do, it's not multi-units like the Green Hammer is designed to be. It's also hit the 5-round sub prop up, first round sub prop at +130, which is an absurd line, but we all agreed would hit. And this is the comment that got me. This is the one that really opened my eyes. He said, you are the third man on a podcast where you handicap fights with John Aik and Ken Flo. They're two of the biggest names in MMA. I'm sure you're compensated for that. That makes you a professional. What else does it take? You're paid to give your opinion on fights. That sure doesn't make you an amateur. That's the one. Oh, fuck. I hit something else. That's the one where I'm like, I sit back. I'm at work reading this on my phone. He hits me with that. And I sit back and I said, holy shit, he's right. Because I always tell people I'm a professional driver, right? Like, I'll drive. I'm a professional driver. I get paid to drive. The Indian Florian pay me to give my opinions and takes and predictions on fights. That makes me a professional. I've said a million times, I'm not a professional. But I got mixed up on what's a professional and what's doing it for a living. I thought those are the same thing. I don't do this for a living. I can't, I don't get paid that much. I would love to, but I am a professional. It was an awakening from famous actor _Al Pacino. I am 100% a professional handicapper. Wow. I'm so stupid. I just now realized that. That's pretty wild. So he's right. A lot of people were giving out -120 Green Hammer bets. The Green Hammer bet, though, the only thing I could say, and I said this in the message, was it's a multi-unit prop bet. A lot of the times it isn't plus money, right? A lot of the times it's minus money because I, as a gambler, my strategy is not to throw multi-units on crazy, absurd lines. I don't have that kind of bankroll to throw multi-units on a prop bet that's plus 1,400 or whatever. Although there is one on this show that we're going to do just because I want to show famous actor Al Pacino. You're right. And I'm giving you something, although there's another capper that kind of has that anyway. Anyway, next up, Jai Herbert, -135 versus Rolando Bedoya, +114. So I'm going to go dog here. I'm going to go Bedoya. He hasn't looked great in his UFC. He throws a ton of volume. He's durables all get out, but he's very limited to what he does. Now, Jai Herbert is a phenomenal striker. This guy can strike with some of the best of them, but he's got a little bit of a chin problem. His last time out against Faraz Ziem, he tried to wrestle a little bit. Ziem got him down. Jai did not look good in the feet. Before that, Jai Herbert looked pretty good against Ludovic Klein. Should have won the fight, but Ludovic Klein actually wrestled, and then he got decision win over Kyle Nelson, which he landed less strikes, which was kind of a weird decision win, but it was in jolly old London. So what are you gonna do? But here's a guy who I think his career has been a little bit chinny. He's not the most durable guy in the world. And even though he is not a power puncher, he is a volume puncher, but I think he can take the best of them. And I think he's going to make Jai Herbert fight, right? Jai Herbert's obviously been around for a while. He's a veteran. He's been 3 rounds, but he doesn't go a hard 3 rounds. You look at his striking numbers. You look at what he throws and what he lands. They're not very high. Bedoya is going to change that here. Jai likes to stay at distance. He likes to throw his kicks. He likes to keep his range. Bedoya is going to close all those doors and just throw. Jai Herbert by knockout would be a good, interesting number for people that want to play the opposite side. He is the favorite. I'm going underdog with Bedoya, underdog by knockout. And that's going to be a nice little play right there. I think second fight of the night. Let's go. Right? Let's go, Bedoya. Peru, Peru in the house. Next up, Victoria Dudikova with minus 162 versus Sam Hughes, plus 136. Sam Page. So I'm high on Dudikova for numerous reasons. Merry man, sorry. Heck, I got to approve these jokes by headquarters before I say those things. But anyway, Dudikova, good grappler, working on her striking. I think she's just better than Sam everywhere. And I think Sam is at that disadvantage against everyone she's fought. And she's won a lot of fights being the lesser fighter in there, in my opinion, right? And she has a good team around her. She can strike, she can grapple, she has cardio. She might drop the first round, come back and win the second and third round. That's the type of fighter she is. Plus 136, you're not going to find a better dog here. However, a female dog. However, I like Dudikova. I like Dudikova in the spot. I think she'll win by decision. I think her wrestling is better. I think her striking is, if not better, at least on the same page. And then I think the wrestling will be the X factor here. I like Dudikova, but this could be a Sam Page upset. We've seen it before, people. Sammy Hughes. She don't fuck around. All right, next up, Guram Kutsalate, minus 2-8 versus Jordan Vizent. I always pronounce it. I watched footage on this guy, too, and I couldn't. Jordan was. Why can't I get his name right? Jordan Vizenic? We'll go Vizenic. Anyway, cage warrior guy, all the rage, covered in tattoos, got a lot of good marketing ability. Just fought not too long ago, won by submission. Is a submission threat. Takedowns are getting better. He's got a split over Paul Hughes. And Paul Hughes is a guy over in Cage Warriors who everyone thought was the next fucking god over there, right? I think he's a good fighter, but when the UFC didn't get him, everyone's like, oh, the UFC blew him. I don't really think he has the skills or personality to be this next big star. I could be wrong, but I mean, what do you go? PFL Bellator? He'll be all right over there, right? But he's got a split with him. He's got a loss and he's got a win over Paul Hughes. Jordan does, and he's plus 180 currently over Guram. And Guram started his career in the UFC with a win over Mantus Gambrat, and then just doesn't fight. Fights again years later. And he's coming off a knockout loss over Brenner, I believe, right? Yeah, so he fights Mantus Gambrat. Then he fights Damir Ismagulov 2 years later, right? Split decision, right? Very, very close. He got outstruck, but he did land a takedown. Very close against Damir, who was a solid guy at the time. And then fought Elvis Brenner exactly a year after that. Outstruck Brenner, got taken down twice, but got knocked out in the third round. Looked pretty good against Brenner until he got caught. This is a guy who is Chimaev's boy. He got the Chimaev treatment. He's a Georgian. The Georgians are hot in the UFC right now with Marab, with Topuria, with, there's a picture of all of them in the gym, all the Georgian fighters. But, a lot of people message me. They're like, hey, when's the podcast coming out? Who's your lock? And they all threw me this guy. He's not a lock. He's not in the slime. Jordan has gotten a lot better in his career with getting the fight to the ground. However, Cage Warriors is such a fucking mixed bag, man. It's so weird. They get so many people that come through Cage Warriors in the European scene, and you got to decipher, is this guy who was a champ, is he good or is he Reese McKee, right? Is he not ready yet like Patty, or is he ready like Connor? Because all these guys have been champions, double division champions over in Cage Warriors, and they produce a lot of talent, which doesn't mean they're not a good organization. It just means they're producing so much talent that guys sometimes slip through the cracks. Maybe the division's weak at the time, whatever. It's Jordan that. I think he's gotten so much better as his career went on. I watched a lot of his fights recently. I want to pull the trigger on him, but I'm not. I'm going to go Guram. I think Guram is just going to decision him here. Maybe TKO late. He took the fight on short notice to get his way in the UFC. He could submit Guram. I haven't seen it. Guram, if he's training with Chimaev, don't fucking know. but the guy's got some decent wrestling defense and at least a get up game as well. And he's if he's in a room with the guys like Chimaev and whatnot, he's obviously got a good game like that. But give me Garam. Not sliming him, not anything in him. I like him by decision. Next up, Shamil Gaziev, minus 225 versus Dante Mays, plus 185. Timbo loves the way I say Dante. I don't know how I say it. It might be my Midwestern Ohio accent, but Dante Mays from Louisville, Kentucky. Don't say Louisville. Don't say Louisville. Say Louisville, Kentucky. Training out of Jackson's, up and down MMA or UFC career. I say it every time Dante fights. He was a guy that came up to Northern Kentucky and was killing people. People were afraid of this guy. Gets to the UFC, gets to Contender Series, doesn't make it. How many times you try it? Like 3. Finally got in there. Had some decent wins in the UFC, but Shamil, even though he's coming off kind of embarrassing performance at heavyweight against Jairzinho Rosenstrike, he went, 4 rounds with Rosenstrike, and he landed like 6 shots. What is it? He went 4 rounds with Jairzinho Rosenstruck. And I think it's Jair. I don't know what it is. Ask John what it is. I'm mispronouncing it. He landed 22 strikes in 4 rounds. Quit. He quit in between rounds, I believe. 1 takedown. Before that, Martin Buday knocked out. Before that, he got a submission win in the Contender Series. This dude needs a rebound. And Dantel... He is getting better with his grappling. He's getting better with certain things. His striking is very awkward. He does have a good chin. I wish he wouldn't be afraid to mix it up as much as he does, but he does use his length pretty well. Not my cup of tea with these kind of middling heavyweights, even though I feel like I'm seeing the board pretty well. I'm going to go Shamil. I think Shamil has more ways to win. I think striking's there. I think it's going to be a slow pace. I think Dantel's going to have to volume him up. He doesn't have the one-touch power that he had back in the day. Now that he's in UFC, but he's going to have to volume him up. He's got to wear down Shamil, and kind of like Rosenstruck did, and then he's going to have a really good performance to the cash at plus 185. Don't know if I see it. I'm going to go Shamil, but no slimy, no locky, no, just a passy. maybe I'll go like TKO or decision for Shamil, but I don't know. Oh, what we got? Someone complimented me. That was great on Twitter. I got to read that later. Next up, Muhammad Yahya plus 310 versus Canu Fernandez. I'm pronouncing this guy's name wrong. Minus 395. This line's probably going to go up. Slime ball's already been placed. Fernandez is in the slime. Listen, Yahya is not good. He's just not. He, talk about UAE Warriors, talking about Cage Warriors. UAE Warriors produces fighters. Yeah, some might be good, but some might be trash. Yahya is just not good. He's not UFC quality. Fernandez at least looked pretty good in his UFC debut, losing a close fight where she could have won against a tough dude. Fernandez has really good striking ability. His kicks are good. He's got some good wins on the ground. Yahya, I don't know what he does right. I don't know what he wants to do in there. I don't think he knows. Some fights he wants to take you down, some fights he wants to strike with you, but I just know he's not good. So Fernandez could be a lock of mine. I just don't know enough about him. Obviously, I did some tape study, but when I throw a lock, I want to see the guy fight in the UFC like more than once. I've fallen to a victim of that before. You got to put a lock on the cards. Sometimes you got to go with your gut, but I'm sliming him up without a doubt. And I think he'll finish. I don't have a finish written down here. I guess KO sub. I think he'll finish Yahya probably 12-4. How do you get a record like 12-4? This guy's connected somewhere over in the Middle East. 12-4 with no, that ain't gonna happen. All right, next up, Zoe Menifield. Big old barrel chested Zoe Menifield. He is plus 180 versus Azmat Mirzakhanov minus 218. Mirzakhanov's a guy who I never really thought was great. His topology picture, he kind of looks like a handsome Luke Rockhold from the side with the gruff, and he looks kind of big, and then in real life, he doesn't look like that. He was losing against Teflon and Chukwu, and then caught Teflon before, you know what I mean? This guy is padding his undefeated record. He's taking time off. His grappling's I'm sure he's a world combat Sambo champion like they all are over in Russia, but it's not something that scares me against Menifield. Menifield's a big, thick dude. He's only 6 foot, but he's thick, right? And he's coming off an embarrassing loss, getting knocked out in like a second, 30 seconds or less to Carlos Olberg, who's an absolute stud. But Menafield, the type of guy that he is like, I need to get that one back. He's coming back a little quick from that knockout loss, in my personal opinion. And I think he's coming with a vengeance. I think he's throwing hot. I think if Murzakanov goes for a takedown, we're going to see elbows to the side of the head. And that's going to be it. I mean, Menafield hits like a truck. Let's see if he can stop some takedowns. Murzakanov has some unique striking. He keeps his hands out like this, and he's very fast, twitchy. And Menafield's chin could be gone, boys. Could be gone. Don't think it is, though. Give me Menafield. I want to keep this at 40 minutes. We're at 30. God damn it. Still got a lot of meat of the card left. Give me Menafield and
send him home early.
Send him home, baby. Lonzo Menafield by KO. All right, next up, Joel Alvarez, minus 155 versus Elves Brenner, plus 130. And
hello? Okay, this is Dog.
I talked way too much in the beginning. Fucking now we're up against it here. Dinner's going. My head's fucking swirling. You got a little headache, got the little fucking nap headache. Boo. Maybe it's the glasses. Maybe I should put them back on. No. I love Brenner in this spot. Alvarez is the guy who I was high on. And then Tsarian, I always do that. Sarukian bodied him and didn't make him want to come back. He's came back since then, but almost didn't make him want to come back. He has a nice submission win last time out. Inconsistent, though. 6'3" at 155. Is he going to make weight? I don't know. Brenner's a dog in there, though, right? Coming off a loss himself. Excuse me. But Brenner's a dog. Has power. Has some takedowns himself. I would avoid the mat with Alvarez. Alvarez has no takedown offense. He wants to play the ground game. Unless you're really confident in your submission game with Brenner, which I haven't seen yet against a guy like Alvarez. Keeping on the feet. Alvarez is tall and long, and he fights really good at range. But when you close that distance on him, if you have good head movement, which I think Brenner does, has a good chin, which I think Brenner does, has power, which I think Brenner does, you move your distance in, you close in, and wrap it up. I like Brenner. Dog money, dog locks. Slime and the dog's in the slime, baby. A dog somehow got in the slime yard, babe. We got a dog in the slime. I like Brenner that much on this card. So I'm rocking with it. All right, next up, Mackenzie Dern. Minus 130 versus Lupi Gonaz. Plus 110. Lupi sisters wrestling the Olympics. She's getting in good wrestling reps. There's no way Mackenzie's going to take Lupi down because Mackenzie does not have great takedowns. The only way this fight gets to the ground is Lupi gets a little confident, takes Mackenzie down. I picked Dern on the Anakin Florian show. I regret that decision. I know chicks. I don't know Mackenzie Dern. I think it's going to be a close fight. I think Lupi's stand-up is not all that good. I think it's better than Mackenzie Dern, but Mackenzie Dern has a little more pop, a little more aggression, and Lupi doesn't. Lupi does throw volume, but it's not as aggressive as Dern, and I think the aggressiveness of Dern could win this, or Lupi can just absolutely shut her out. I don't know. I'm going to go Dern, even though I hate it. But I'm going to go during Kenny Florian put $400 on Lupi Gonez, which I think is probably the right decision considering she's dog money. I'm probably making a horrible mistake here for a guy that knows chicks as much as I do. I just can't find myself taking Lupi, even at the dog money. I don't know. I'm a fucking goon. All right, next up, Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chiesa. Michael Chiesa minus 550 versus Tony Ferguson plus 450 or plus 410. By the way, I know I made fun of Raul Rojas Jr., the guy, the way he looks and he's young and he's arrogant at one point. He got kind of put in check. Yeah. Plus 440 for Tony Ferguson. Michael Chiesa minus 600 now. Had to jump on that line. But Chihuihuis is a lot of fun to say. Chihuihuis. It's a lot of fun to say. Okay. So here's what's going on. First time ever. I'm gonna do this, right? I'm picking Chiesa. I'm not betting Chiesa. Chiesa is very unreliable, especially in this point. But the Green Hammer is Tony Ferguson by submission, which I've already placed a bet. I got it at plus 1,400 on DraftKings. That's the Green Hammer, which there's a lot of comments in the photo or the video I posted to my kids. No, I do not know where the Green Hammer is right now. I asked them. They smiled. I'm going to find it. But the Green Hammer is Tony Ferguson by submission. Famous actor Al Pacino wants me to go big, wants me to do something no one else is going to do. Guess what? A bunch of other people are seeing it that way too. Matty Betts, who throws a lot of shekels up, throws a lot of money up, he likes Tony Ferguson by submission as well. It's now down to plus 1,200. It was plus 1,400 when I got it. It's now plus 1,200. So sorry, famous actor Al Pacino. You know, you're getting this expert analysis, professional analysis, and that is something that I thought maybe I would get away with, and not many people would see it that way. Maybe they would see Chiesa by submission, which what is Chiesa by submission? Plus 120. Yeah, so Vegas is seeing it that way, but a lot of sharps are seeing it the other way too. I'm sticking with that. So I've never done that before. I've never picked a fighter. So my Green Hammer prop bet is Tony Ferguson by submission, probably Darce if I had to guess, right? And then Michael Chiesa is going to be who I pick to win. I'm not going to bet Chiesa. I won't bet him. He's not slimed up. He's not anything. This is interesting, right? This is interesting a lot. Tony didn't seem as arrogant. Some of the press conference footage I've seen of him, or media conference. He's like, I got 7 in a row. Who wants to lose 8? You know, I could be gone. Like, you know, it's a little more self-aware. He said he brought, you know, again, this is same old. I brought in, I did 120 rounds. I did this, I did it, you know, whatever. But pick is Chiesa. Green Hammer is Tony Ferguson by sub, plus 1,200 currently. I got a plus 14 to 1. Let's go. Next up, you got Marlon Chito Vera, plus 145 versus Devin Figueiredo. And I was very confident. Very confident in the Yankee Florian Devin Figueiredo. I still am. Kenny picked Cheeto. One of us is going to have a good week. I think Figgy's wrestling, grappling is going to make the difference here. I think Cheeto's takedown offense is slightly overrated at 70% on UFC stats. I think he can get taken down quite easily. He plays the guard game off his back. He doesn't rush anything, especially getting back to his feet. And that could really lose some rounds for him. And Figueiredo can strike with Cheeto. I think Cheeto is the better striker. Longer, rangier, more natural 135er, but Figueiredo is athletic. He's quick twitch muscle. He does have power. And I think the wrestling is going to be his advantage. I think his entries, his shot, his singles, his doubles are very fast. And I think if he gets Cheeto down, that's a problem. I see a lot of people picking Cheeto in this fight, and I get that. I understand that. But I had to draw a line in the sand somewhere. And this was the line I drew. I like Figueiredo here. Slime balled up. That's 3 Brazilians in the slime ball parlay. I took 3 Brazilians in the fucking desert. 3 Brazilians in the desert I'm taking as my slime ball parlay. Crazy. But again, I like Figgy here. He's looked great at 135 so far. I think he can strike with Cheeto. I think he's faster than Cheeto as well. Cheeto sometimes can end up as a punching bag. But he's durable. He's tough. He's incredibly hard to finish. No one can finish him, right? So I don't see it finished. I see Figueiredo winning 1 and 2 convincingly, and then 3-round Cheeto having a little bit of a rally. But again, this is a 3-round fight. I like Figueiredo here. That's going to be a big win for him at 135. I'm interested to see how far he goes at 135. Because, again, I was initially sour on him coming up to 35. Didn't think he was going to do much, but he's looked really good against 2 pretty. I mean, Rob Font's a great fighter, and Cody Garbrandt used to be a great fighter, but he exposed Cody on the ground. So I love that. All right, next up, Mihail Oloshechek, plus 210 versus Shara Magomedov, the Bullet, a.k.a. the Pirate, a.k.a. I'll pillage all your fucking people. This dude's scary, right? On the Yankee Florian, I said I wasn't confident. I picked Shara, and I wasn't confident Oloshechek could steal a dog here. I have dog question mark written down on Oloshechek's name. I think Shara gets it done now. I'm back on the Bullet side. I'm back on thinking he's going to get it done there. I think he's way too athletic, fast for Oloshechek. I think he's got to mix everything up, use his footwork, can't get cut off, can't just... Oloshechek, crazy pressure with his boxing. You got to get Oloshechek to respect you with something. I think he will with a flying knee, with a kick, with a punch. I like Shara in this spot here. This is a big step up in competition. This is a guy that wants to fight everybody. He's confident. He's ready to go. This is a pretty good beef up, right? This is a dude who fought a lot at 205, Oloshechek. Now he's at 85. He's fought a lot of people. Doesn't have the best wins over a lot of people, but he's been in there. So this is a good matchup for Shara here. He's got a lot of hype around him. He was the Reddit darling for years. Now he's co-main event here in Abu Dhabi. That's a huge boost for him. I'm confident now. I think he can knock out Oloshechek, which is easier said than done. But if not, possibly win by decision. But knockout kind of seems way more fun to take though. But I was a little hesitant when I recorded on Monday. Now it's Thursday. I'm all in on Bullet. Maybe could even throw him a la mode on the fucking slime ball, but I didn't. But you can. You can do whatever you want, boys. That's the great thing about this. You can do whatever you want. All right, main event. Corey Sandhagen plus 250 versus Umar, cousin Umar, Nurmagomedov, minus 310. So this is the toughest fight in the card. This is the fight I'm most excited to see. I'm so glad it's during the day, so I'm not going to be falling asleep. Cousin Umar is a phenomenal fighter. Probably one of the best guys that are going to come. I mean, they just breed him over in that, that Khabib camp. But this is going to be one of the best guys that come out for a while. He's got really good striking, quick twitch muscles, good kicks, grappling's phenomenal, finishing ability on the ground's good. Still needs a little bit more experience. He has a good record, 17-0, but a lot of those were not high-level guys before the UFC, and now he's getting one of the highest level guys with really good fight IQ, brought in a lot of people, spent a lot of money in this camp, physically looks phenomenal. Long-rangey striker. Usually long guys are hard to take down. Corey, takedown defense hasn't really been world-renowned, right? But he's going to get taken down, but I'm looking for, is he going to get back up? He's not going to get tired. Can Umar go 5 rounds? It's a question for Umar. Could, after a few failed takedown attempts, because all the Khabib camps do, all of them, Islam does this, Khabib does this, Umar's going to do this, they take a round off and they play around the feet a little bit, right? If Umar is tired or whatever, he's going to take a round off, probably the 3rd round if he gets there, and I think Corey's going to punish him on the feet for that. I think Umar has good takedowns. He has good kicks. For being the smaller guy, he maintains his range really well, but Corey is special on the feet. Really good striker, sees things really well. It's the grappling that I have questions on. I wish I had the balls to pull the trigger on Sandhagen. Kenny Florian did. I'm going cousin Umar. It's hard to bet against Russians. It's hard to bet against Nurmagomedov. It's hard to bet against a guy like Umar, where if you dig up a tweet of mine, I said this guy's a future at 135. So I kind of got to go with my gut, but a huge fucking test. And secretly, I think I'm rooting for Corey. And I might put a little check on Corey depending how my night goes. But right now, for you, it's Umar, no lock, no nothing. So let's give me the recap. More lock, Figgy, Davison Figueiredo. Dog lock, Elvis Brenner, and then send him home, Zoe Menafield. Slime ball parlay. You got Figgy, you got Brenner, you got Fernandez. That's plus 455. Woo! You got Figgy. You got Brenner. You got Fernandez. Plus 455. I'm taking 3 Brazilians. I'm putting them in the desert, and we're winning money, baby. Green Hammer, Tony Ferguson. By submission, Darce choke. Plus 1,400 on DraftKings. Slash that. Plus 1,200 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Currently, as we sit right now, people have put money on that. Matty bets. The guy moves lines a little bit. The guy throws a lot of lines up there. I don't know if he uses DraftKings, but he has a big following. The guy fucking moves lines. All right, that's it. That's the show. Thank you. Sorry I felt rushed at the end. I blabbered too much at the beginning. We're back next week. And the week after that, we got Mr. Number 3, future Hall of Famer Evan Longoria. Stay real, baby. Let's go.